Hello, and welcome to another exciting edition of Hidden in the Universal Vault. I'm Ron, your host, and I'm welcoming you to my review of The Terminal from 2004. Now, The Terminal is another Steven Spielberg-Tom Hanks collaboration, this being released by DreamWorks and Spielberg's company Amblin. So, the movie stars Tom Hanks, Catherine Zeta-Jones, Stanley Tucci, Chi McBride, and Diego Luna. And yes, Diego Luna from Open Range. So the movie also, I believe, also has Zoe Saldana in a small role as well. And yeah, I'm going to tell you right now, this is a masterpiece. This is a great movie. Let's talk about Terminal. So, here's the plot to The Terminal. After arriving at New York's JFK Airport, Victor Nukoshki, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, gets underwinding caught in barricade glitch that makes it impossible for him to return to his home country, Kazakhstan, I think it is, or entering the U.S., now caught up in a rich, complex, and amusing world inside the airport. Victor makes friends, gets a job, finds romance, and ultimately discovers America itself. Now, if that plot sounds familiar, there was a Robin Williams dramedy made in 1984 called Moscow on the Hudson. That was also about a Russian coming to America. This movie basically is just if Moscow on the Hudson was set in an airport and was a true story. This movie is a true story. I believe it's set in 2004 because the movie was made in 2004. I thought this movie was like set in the 90s, but yeah, this is a very fascinating movie. Just like another movie I covered, 90 Minutes in Heaven, it has a very fascinating story. Basically, it's a story about a Russian who basically becomes a celebrity in the airport, and basically he becomes friends. So at first, right at the beginning of the movie, we're introduced to Victor, which is played by Hanks, a police officer played by Barry Shipeka Henley, which I covered in another DreamWorks movie he was in, Collateral, but he has a small role in that. It also has Stanley Tucci, who appeared with Tom Hanks before in 2002's Road Perdition, playing the role of Frank Nitti. That was Tucci's role in that. He plays the head of the Homeland Security in the movie. So it's just such a fascinating story, and what I love about this movie is the characters. It's such an interesting story. At first I didn't buy Hanks having a Russian accent, but then again, I adapted to it because Robin Williams played another Russian from Moscow who comes to America, New York City, and he has a Russian accent, but I bought into that because I thought Williams did a better job. But eventually, as I'm watching the film, I adapted. I got used to it. Now, it might throw some people off, but then again, I'm trying to think of the one actor. I can't think of his name right now. It's top of my head. He played Clinton in the TV movie of the American Crime Stories TV movie about Clinton. I can't think of his name right now. I'm blanking right now, but yeah, whatever. I'm probably gonna blank. You probably put that in the comments somewhere. But anyways, I really liked this movie a lot, and just such a fascinating story. At first, I felt real bad for this guy because he has to survive in the airport. So he has to sort of make room, and he lives in the airport basically. So he's trying to make ends meet to basically try to eat to survive. So he's like putting ketchup, mustard, and crackers, but it looks like he's eating it. But I gotta give Spielberg credit that he doesn't really eat in the movie, because it would just be in line of gross. But then again, so he pushes these sort of cart rails, and then he gets a lot of quarters to be able to afford Burger King food to eat. Eventually he makes, like, they don't say how much he makes, but I'm going to probably say he makes at least $10, $20, and now he gets a meal. Enter Diego Luna. He's sort of the guy that works at the airport. So he has a crush on Zoe Saldana, who's a Homeland woman who does the approve and dismiss. Basically, she presses a thing about the visas. So he has to try to get a visa. At first, he loses meal cards and he can't get along with the janitor. After a while, he becomes friends with the janitor. Same thing with him. So he's like, I want you to get to talk to this woman for me. Eventually, I'll get you food if you get to try to get the woman. So eventually he gets him all the food, all he can eat, just so he can fall in love with this girl. And basically he, so now eventually so anyways, I'm trying to get ahead of myself, and then he has a relationship with Catherine Zeta-Jones, as what Doug Walker would say. She plays another stewardess, I do believe, and falls in love with her. So it comes that Chi McBride plays. I do like Chi McBride a lot. It's Stanley Tucci. He is just good. He plays it sort of likable bad guy in this. So like I said, he's the head of the home security, and he's not, at first he likes Hanks, but then eventually he wants him arrested. It comes down to the very end. And the reason why this Victor gets into American airports because his hometown of Kazakhstan is in war right now. Eventually it pays off. Not going to tell you how it happens, because then I'm giving away the ending without going into spoiler territory. But as I said many, many times, I think this movie is just a fantastic movie. And I think, honestly, Hanks is great in this movie. At first I wasn't sure if the Russian accent was going to work, but eventually I adapted to it. And this is another movie I remember watching. I caught up to near the end of the film, but for some reason I never finished it. I got up to the scene where there's a scene where the janitors walk into the plane to stop him from boarding the plane. That's all I remember, and I never finished what happened at the end. So that's all I'm going to say about this. I really liked Terminal. The Terminal to me is a feel-good movie. It's like Moscow on the Hudson if it was a true story and if it was set in an airport. It has that same thing. But I will easily say Hanks is good in this, but if it comes down to which person pulled off the Russian accent, I still got to hand it to Robin Williams. I think he pulled the Russian accent better. But that movie was more of a Russian saxophonist come to New York City. This is about a guy from Kazakhstan come to American airport trying to make ends meet, trying to get jobs, and eventually he becomes a celebrity at the airport. And the real Victor Nonorsky, he would actually pass on, I believe, last year. So yeah, a fascinating story, and I was like, oh yeah, I remember him, and oh yeah, I remember hearing about the news. Such a fascinating story. I gotta read what Roger Ebert said about this. There's a blurb on top of Roger Ebert says, "There's a humanity in its humor, a sweet and delected comedy, a film that take your breath away." I gotta say, I will say for the most part, Roger Ebert had a point in this. It's a feel-good movie. It makes you feel good. It's sad at the beginning, but when the final piece of the puzzle's put together, it really makes you feel good. So I'm getting ahead of myself. Like I said, I think Catherine Zeta-Jones is actually good in this. So Catherine Zeta-Jones, as I said, is just great in this. I love whenever they go have their own mini restaurant. So the people work at the airport were dressed up in waiter outfits. I did like that. The scene where the guy's juggling the rings, that's kind of clever. So the reason they had a special meal at the airport is because they can't leave the airport. So let's just make it into a restaurant to believe we're actually going out. So that really makes me feel that really has a special spot. There is no doubt. And at the end of the day, this movie is a masterpiece. I believe The Terminal, to me, is a movie that needs to be seen by anybody who wants to know about this story. This story, to me, is fascinating. Spielberg again knocked it apart. The cinematography by Janusz Kaminski is always good. That is basically Spielberg's go-to guy to make cinematography, and he's one of the better cinematographers right there. Like I said, him and Conrad Hall are one of the best cinematographers ever. Janusz Kaminski knows. Now, as you know, I still have the sniffles a little bit, so that's why I'm talking a little bit funny today. But this movie is just so good. I do believe, like I said, this is a movie I don't think got any Oscars, but I think this is criminally underrated. In terms of Spielberg movies, this is one of his best. I will say I haven't watched the entire Spielberg library, but I have reviewed most of it, and I'm going to easily say Terminal was good. Catch Me If You Can was definitely great, but I think Terminal takes it up a notch and shows you how great a powerful story, basically a story about a man who comes to an airport who's just this unknown, and basically he becomes a celebrity at the airport. He's basically a hero at the airport, and the guy went through a lot to get what it is. But at the very end, when you put it together through the movie, like the first half you feel bad, middle half you eventually get to know this man, and then the third half he's basically just a hero. So yeah, Terminal, phenomenal movie, a masterpiece, and one of Spielberg's best. So let's go ahead and rate this right now. I am going to give The Terminal, you probably already know what this is going to be right now, an automatic 5 out of 5. I can't give it lower than that score because everything is just great. There's no flaws, there's no nothing. It makes you feel good, and at the very end of the movie, I was smiling, I was cheering for this guy to make it out to the end. I was really happy for that ending. I was like, oh man, I thought something was going to happen to this guy. But everybody at the airport wished him the best of luck. So I'm going to say that without spoiling it. But yeah, like I said, yeah, see The Terminal, phenomenal movie, good stuff, and I loved it for sure. So yeah, that's my review of The Terminal. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you do like the content of the channel, like, comment, subscribe, click the bell, ring the bell to get all the video notifications so you don't miss a single video on the channel. I'm also on Letterboxd, guys, so you can check me out there. Tons of other stuff as well. Just some good stuff on the channel. Like in addition to the reviews, I do collection updates, Vlog City series, and tons of other content on the channel that you don't want to miss. So yeah, check out The Terminal. Very good stuff, and definitely one of the better Spielberg movies I can highly recommend to anybody who wants a good history lesson. So that's it, guys. And as always, keep watching those Universal movies.